Trump's Department of Justice is claiming that they have released all of the Epstein files, millions of documents, powerful names being named, and a clear promise that nothing is being withheld for political purposes. But investigators are saying that is an outright lie, and that the public has only seen about 2% of what's in the files. This isn't just Democrat backlash, this is coming from Republicans, Trump allies, and even voices in conservative media. So, what is being hidden? What has actually been released? And why is this turning into a bipartisan crisis? Attorney General Pam Bondi told Congress that the Department of Justice has released all files relating to Epstein under the Epstein Transparency Act. The document release included about 3.5 million records and a list of politically exposed persons. These are public figures whose names appear somewhere in the materials, including Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Mark Zuckerberg, and Tucker Carlson. This is important context. Being named in the Epstein records does not mean that somebody committed a crime. That has to be said. Many references come from contact books, flight records, or indirect mentions. But the Department of Justice has also stated that no materials were withheld due to embarrassment or political sensitivity. But that claim immediately ran into a major contradiction. Only 2% of the Epstein files have been released. Investigative reporting found federal agents were working with tens of terabytes of data seized from Epstein's home, including digital archives, hard drives, and financial records. Compared to that volume, the public release may only represent about 2% of the total materials collected. In other words, the Department of Justice is saying that everything is out, but the scale of the underlying evidence is showing that a majority of what's in the files has not been released. That is the gap that is continuing to drive this political backlash. But this criticism isn't falling on party lines. We have conservative voices, people who helped get Donald Trump elected in 2024, who are openly saying that this is an absolute disgusting act of mistrust from our federal government. Listen to Andrew Schultz talk about this with Charlemagne.
Yeah. And it's just like now you're taking advantage of the most vulnerable and making them take advantage of their vulnerable peers.
What the fuck happens? Something has to happen. There has to be consequences and repercussions. For
Yeah,
this
why
shit.
has no one else
you
got
can't
arrested?
just move on. Like fuck it. Everything got to get burned down.
This is what
Everything, the whole system, all of these people, all of these individuals, fuck them all. Like Pam Bondi said, if they was to prosecute everybody in the Epstein files, the system would collapse.
All right,
Let it fucking collapse.
Which is, this is the fear shit that they try to stoke in us. They're like, if all these people would go to prison, the system would collapse. And it's like, shorty, every 8 years, we replace the leader of the country.
Word up.
Every 2 years, we replace the House of Representatives. Every, 6 for the Senate? Every 6, is it 6 for the Senate? How many years?
Six.
It is
The
6
Senate.
years.
Every 6 is it's a Senate. It's like we're used to replacing. The system is built for interchangeable figures. So stop giving us this bullshit that if pedophiles get put in prison, what she's basically saying is, hey, America runs on pedophiles. So without it, we won't have a system. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, guess what? The pedophiles or alleged pedophiles in positions of power right now, they collapsing the system any goddamn.
Oh, that's
You know what I'm
this
saying?
ain't the housing crisis.
No,
the housing crisis.
No.
This is
No.
there's a but the thing I was saying earlier about like Trump being a victim of his own narcissism, it's like the perception of Trump, whether you like Trump or not, the perception of Trump is he will do whatever he needs to do to succeed, right? Like it doesn't matter the collateral damage that comes around
For himself.
Exactly, right? So it's this idea that like he'll throw whoever under the bus as long as it helps him get to where he needs to go. Now, you can debate whether that's true or not, but that is the perception of Trump, right? Is that in order for him to succeed, he will do whatever. It's not like he's going down with the ship.
No.
You know what I mean?
Hell
Like
no.
the perception of Trump is he's the dude that goes on the boat with the women and children on the Titanic. He's not the captain.
He gonna get rid of the women and children too.
he's like, bitch, you don't even got
Get
kids.
the fuck out of here, yo.
Yeah. So that's the perception. So the idea that he would not be releasing these files and he'd be saying, oh, this is a Democratic hoax after campaigning on releasing them, I think that's very important. The campaign was we're going to release.
Mm-hmm.
The campaign was we're going to expose. The campaign was we are going to drain the swamp, right? And then he doesn't. The knee-jerk reaction from the public is, well, if you would do anything for you to exceed, the question I just would ask you guys, if you think that the Epstein files, if they were unredacted, completely exonerated Trump,
Let him out. Unredacted.
do you think
They'd
that
be on the billboards in Times Square.
What?
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
so now we're also, a lot of people probably going to look at him and go, well, there's no way that he would go down with the ship for his friends. right? Because that's the perception. Now, if you're like a mafia dude, you're taking a charge for your man because that's
Yeah, that this is exactly explaining the entire personality behind Donald Trump. He does not care about who he throws under the bus. He doesn't care who he throws to the wolves if it protects him. So there's a reason why he's being so cautious to release these files, why they're slow rolling it, and they've only released 2%. Can you imagine what is in the 98% of what has not been released? If the 2% is already some of the most damning information that we've seen about the corruption of our justice system, that allows people of heavy influence and status to get away with this shit. Imagine what is in the 98% of the files that we haven't seen yet. We're also seeing Republican congressmen like Thomas Massie say that this administration is the Epstein administration.
Pam Bondi has confidence in Pam Bondi. She wasn't confident enough to engage in anything but name calling in a hearing. And
Trump
so,
derangement
no, I
syndrome.
don't have confidence in her. She hasn't got any sort of accountability there at the DOJ. When I asked her specifically who redacted Leslie Wexner's name from the one document that mattered, she couldn't give me an answer. She wouldn't give me an answer. But ultimately, it's her who is responsible for the document production, according to our law. The Attorney General, it's not Todd Blanche. It's not the people below them. You can assign tasks to people, but you can't assign your responsibility.
And just very quickly, if you will, you've
She
supported
can't hide
most of
behind that
what
fact.
Donald Trump has done during his presidency. But because of your actions with these files, he is supporting your primary opponent and has waged very personal attacks on you. I know we just have a few seconds here, but just your reaction to that.
Look, this is about the Epstein class. The people who are funding the attacks against me, they may or may not be implicated in these files, but they were certainly rubbing shoulders with the people who are in these files. They're billionaires who are friends with these people, and that's what I'm up against in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump told us that even though, he had dinner with these kinds of people in New York City and West Palm Beach, that he would be transparent, but he's not. He's still in with the Epstein class. This is the Epstein administration, and they're attacking me for trying to get these files released.
And again, I'm going to say President Trump has not been accused of anything criminal here. Thank you very much.
Thomas Massie, not afraid to say what most Democrats are. I mean, this is the Epstein administration. This will be a defining moment of Trump's second term, him protecting fellow wealthy, influential elites from actual accountability and justice. Thomas Massie is not a Democrat. It's always funny when you can kind of see the mask slip a little bit. And, Thomas Massie is saying these are all billionaires with substantial amounts of influence that are getting away with these crimes. Dude, you're a libertarian. Thomas Massie is not a pro worker person. It's not about helping the little guy. Oftentimes, he votes in favor of cutting large regulations on large conglomerates or ensuring that those that have the most money in this country continue to build their wealth. He's pretty anti-worker rights. He said before that he thinks the minimum wage is fake. We shouldn't consider a lot of what he says, but it is significant to see that somebody that is so pro-capitalism, so pro-Trump in most of his issues is so vehement in attacking Trump for this Epstein cover up. That is significant. And it shows that there is a bipartisan coalition. Thomas Massie is getting primaried by Trump. Trump is endorsing his primary opponent, even though Thomas Massie, on most occasions, votes in favor of the Trump administration's agenda. That should tell you everything that there is to know. Even somebody that is so pro Trump, most of the time, is saying, hey, this administration is the Epstein administration. They do not care about justice. Pam Bondi, the sitting attorney general, does not care about naming the names that need to be called out. And the consequences of the Epstein controversy is not limited to the United States. This article from Daily Kos shows that high profile resignations and replacements are happening as Epstein case fallout spreads. So, internationally, high profile figures, including business leaders, officials, and other public figures, have stepped down or been replaced after their names surfaced in Epstein related materials. Even indirect associations, just knowing people that are implicated, has had reputational fallout across Europe. But the United States, this response has been slower. I talked with Cam from Courier. You can watch our video. It's on Courier if you want to go to their YouTube channel. But we talked about why is that? Why is there such a slow roll in the United States when delivering justice for these heinous criminals? And it's really because of how prevalent this is. There are so many members, so many people in high positions of power in the business world that are connected to Epstein. And as Pam Bondi said, if we arrested everybody, the system would collapse. People are not afraid of that. People want accountability. They're not saying, okay, let's protect the pedophiles. Let's protect those that are abusers and some of the worst people on the planet because we need to protect this system that's run by pedophiles, apparently. What are we doing here? We need full transparency. We need to name names and hold people accountable for this disgusting behavior. Right here, Goldman Sachs' top lawyer to resign. Kathy Rumler, the chief legal officer at storied investment bank Goldman Sachs, said Thursday she will resign after the release of emails in which she described Epstein as an older brother and downplayed his sex crimes. While Rumler has called Epstein a monster in recent statements, she had a much different relationship with Epstein before he was arrested a second time for sex crimes in 2019. She received several expensive gifts from him, including luxury handbags and a fur coat. So lovely and thoughtful. Thank you to Uncle Jeffrey, Rumler wrote to Epstein in 2018. Before joining Goldman in 2020, Rumler was White House counsel for President Barack Obama. She will step down from Goldman Sachs on January 30th. I recommend checking out this article. There are several high profile officials: Slovakian ex foreign minister, they have the French ex culture minister, Norwegian former ambassador, there's Norway's ex prime minister, Norway's crown princess. So many people are implicated. And this just shows how pervasive the linkage and the connections are when it comes to people in high positions of power to literal sex criminals. In a way, Pam Bondi was right when she said that our entire system could be in jeopardy if there's full transparency, because this is not a partisan issue. Top Democrats, top Republicans, billionaires, tech oligarchs, media personalities, all of these people are implicated in some of the worst crimes imaginable. The pattern is not partisan. The real question isn't which political side is implicated in the Epstein files. The question is, are elite networks protected no matter who is in power? Look at these names that are involved. In a way, Pam Bondi was right. Our entire system could be in jeopardy if there's full transparency because we have top Democrats, top Republicans, tech billionaires, CEOs, media personalities, all of these people implicated in the files. This is not a controversy and a pattern that is political or partisan. It is institutional. It exposes the corruption within our entire system. Which political side is implicated is not the question that you should be asking. You should be asking, are elite networks protected no matter who's in power? And what will it take to get full transparency and accountability? Right now, the perception gap is actually growing. The government is saying, we have released everything, we have had full transparency. But investigators are saying 98% of the data hasn't been released. Political allies are turning critical. Public trust in institutions is already at historic lows. When people are believing information is incomplete, accountability looks selective. The story stops being about one criminal case. We need to know, is our system protecting the worst people imaginable? And until the public is convinced that they're actually seeing everything, the Epstein story will not go away.